As we know, the story about Ricky Pearsall being shot in the chest while shopping has rocked the NFL world. But as we know, he's good. He's on his road to recovery, discharged from the hospital. Great news after an initially terrifying situation. But not only do we know he's going to be okay, we're starting to learn more details about the story that went into the robbery attempt that landed with the 49ers first round draft pick with a bullet wound to the chest. So, we actually had a great article put out by the San Francisco Chronicle, kind of detailing the events and how it played out with quotes from the officer on hand who probably saved his life based on the amount of blood that was coming out of his chest. Obviously, a bullet wound. So let's get into it. Also, there's a video, a firsthand account that I'm going to share with you as well. It's really emotional. It kind of puts you in that scene, and you can see the officer, the sergeant getting emotional as well. So, but let's set the stage and we'll get into it shortly. This particular excerpt is from Yahoo Sports, Ian Castleberry on Sergeant Joel Harrell. He goes on to say blood loss could have been a fatal factor for Pearsall if not for the intervention of a San Francisco police sergeant who quickly found the receiver on the scene. Basically, in this story, it talks about how she was about a block away, heard three gunshots ring out, pop, pop, pop. And her process was, what was that? Was that a skateboarder? What? And she was trying to determine what that sound was. And she was like, that had to be gunshots. So she's just started, took off running, hits around the block. She couldn't really tell much of anything that was going on. Not a lot of people, I think, had registered what had happened yet. And as the officer started to run up, people started to scatter as I think they started to correlate that that was gunshots. So as the story continues, she goes and she finds him on the sidewalk and obviously has a bullet wound in his chest and apparently was just gushing, just absolutely gushing. She tried to get as much information as she could about the suspect that created this. Ricky provided as much information as he could, flagged down some other wide receivers, told or what other wide receivers, other officers of the suspect, the description, and what direction he went in. So those officers went with and tried to track that guy down while she stayed with Ricky Pearsall. And that's where the story continues with this quote from the sergeant. She said, I was just using my hand for the front just to create suction so the air wouldn't enter the wound. Basically, trying to apply pressure to stop the bleeding as much as possible and obviously stopping airflow from entering the wound. Pearsall obviously starting to realize like what was happening and probably understanding the severity of the injury, asked her if he was going to die and she said you're strong and just to focus on your breathing. And obviously, this became a tense situation as Pearsall started to, you know, get tense. Really started to like the reality of the situation started to set in. And this is where we're going to bring in Sergeant Harrell so you can hear her firsthand account of this situation.
And I was like, okay, just be calm. We're here. We're going to take care. Everything's okay. And I could see his breathing started getting faster. I could feel his body changing. I see him look down and he looks at me. He goes, am I going to die? And I just like, no. I take off my hat because I wanted to make eye contact with him. I wanted him to hear me. And I said to him, listen, look at me. I know you don't know me, but I want you to trust me. It's not your time. God is here with us, okay? Please be calm and breathe. You're strong, okay? I want you to be strong like you are out in the field. Just breathe. And he looked at me and he listened. He did it, and that helped so much.
So as you could hear, she's emotional just replaying it. It made me emotional listening to it. just a wild situation. Just putting yourself in that situation of someone being what appears to be critically injured and having to move as quickly as possible where seconds feel like minutes and every second counts. Just making sure that you're trying to and hoping for this guy to survive. Obviously, they both leaned on their faith in this moment. The thing that she said about, just handle this like you would on the football field in that same breath. And he started to kind of relax a little bit. Probably was one of the smartest moves she could have done was to relate this situation back to football. Football players are very routine oriented. Guys like Ricky Pearsall understand how to use the mind to calm the nerves. And so as she relates it to football, he is then able to go into that realm where he feels very comfortable with amidst an uncomfortable situation and was able to relax and just kind of go through the situation as it was. The story goes on to say that the siren, she says, the siren is the ambulance. It's here for you. It's just a matter of time before we get you in there. And I'm sure you guys have seen the video at this point where Ricky Pearsall walks under his own power, sits on the gurney, and they put him in to the ambulance. But I just have to say, amazing job by Sergeant Joel Harrell for reacting, for being on it immediately, for understanding what to do to stop the bleeding, to direct other officers who they did catch the suspect. Amazing, amazing job by her. If any of you guys know her or know how to reach out to her, I would love for her contact information just to be able to share a special thank you on behalf of the faithful for her quick response and for her bravery of running headfirst into that situation, saving what very well could have saved Ricky Pearsall's life by conserving and treating the wound immediately, and just again a really really tough situation. And I know that there can be a lot of different things around certain subjects, if I just say it politely, but these are the things that, man, when you need someone there and you have the right people there to help you, invaluable. And I can't thank her enough, of, on behalf of the faithful, for all of that, for everything, for jumping into action, for saving a young man's life that happens to mean a lot to a lot of people, specifically those who are 49er fans. So, um, uh, a very crazy story, a crazy situation, but it does appear there will be a happy ending. And we do, again, just have to credit a ton to Joel Harrell and for her quick and prompt response. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.